Is Donald Trump just being Mr. Gracious here? Because he is getting mud thrown at him, and he says, I'm having trouble, and then he comes out and says, no, everything's fine.
Well, he's being incredibly gracious and presidential, and you would think and hope that President Barack Obama would honor his word, like he said he was going to take a page out of the book from George W. Bush about how well they were treated, how the transition went so smooth, but instead it seems like using the opportunity to take cheap shots. And it's really so unnecessary. And, you know, they had the meeting in the Oval Office, it sounds like went very well. And then subsequent to that, we have the little comments, the undermining, saying, well, if I ran against you for a third term, I would have beaten you. It's very, like, playground antics. I don't know, it just lacks kind of, you know, the presidential maturity that you would expect.
Well,
at this point.
it has flipped because everybody was worried about Donald Trump. Does he have the demeanor to be presidential? And the president is doing a temper tantrum. You said juvenile.
It's like playgrounds. I don't understand. It's like poking the cage. It's like, okay, haha, trying to see perhaps he's going to provoke a reaction. But then they spoke today, and as you saw, President-elect Trump said they had a nice conversation. They had a, quote, general conversation. He didn't get into all of the specifics, which I think was also appropriate. But he came out, he addressed the media, he acknowledged that, and especially this is, you know, in light of all the international diplomatic problems that we're having right now with Israel, who is one of our strongest allies, who it seems this administration is taking its last chance to undermine.
But I'm also, you know, it's interesting because I see all of this, and everybody in the diplomatic community is all up in arms.
Yeah.
But come on, we can all see through this, and we can see, okay, Barack Obama is about done, so whatever he says. But if I was running Russia or Israel, I would say, ignore the temper tantrums. Let's wait for the next president.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and that's why President-elect Donald Trump said, you know, Israel, be strong, hold on, our ally, our trusted friend in a very difficult region till the 20th of January. Help. The American cavalry is on its way to be able to assist them, especially in these important talks, what we need to do to stabilize the region. And certainly this divisive rhetoric is not aiding itself well for any kind of diplomacy.
No, and as much as I'm not a big fan of Barack Obama, I think it makes him look small on the way out.
It really is, and it's unfortunate. You know, I actually would expect better from him to kind of take the high road and,
well, that's his whole thing, Mr. Professor, Mr. Aloof.
Well, I don't know. Somebody needs to go back to Professor 101 and say, you know, leave with a nice, clean exit. Instead, he had Secretary of State John Kerry up there mudslinging and trying to undermine Israel further. And it's really such a disservice, and especially given what's going on in the region. That's the last thing we need. Israel's already surrounded by enemies that want to see its end and its demise. The U.S. doesn't need to be the nail in the coffin.
Remember when George W. Bush came into office, there was the stories about the fact that the Clinton administration took all the W's out of the typewriter or the keyboards.
Yes, and
so I had a caller to my radio show today say, I wonder if they're going to, if the Obama administration is going to take all the T's off of the keyboards so that it just spells rump.
Oh, my goodness. I hadn't heard that before. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
See, you have the smartest caller.
Well, it shows, but they're also, they're talking about how petty some of this stuff can be. Right. We think that they're, you know, big official people at the White House, but they can be petty.
And maybe they'll say, sometimes you can't control all the staffers, right? That'll be the excuse of some sort or another. But hopefully it ends on a good note, because there's a lot of work to be done, including putting some jobs on the books, and lowering some taxes and slashing regulations. I
think it's going to give Trump an opportunity to basically say, I'll clean up this mess, and he'll look even better because of it.
I think so, too, because they've set the bar low, their expectations for him. I think he's going to exceed them, and I think he's looking forward to it.